Hi, we're here at Silver Bullet Studios, and we're going to take you through some of the gear that we use on the new Enabler record, Fail to Feel Safe.
Alright, so I'm going to show you some of the guitar amps and cabinets that we used on the record. We used a number of different ones to combine for our rhythm sounds. We used the Marshall JMP. It's a 78 JMP. That's our primary rhythm sound. We ran this through two separate cabs. We used the Marshall cab here, which is another 78 actually. And we used the Sun cab as well with that. And we did some textures using the Marshall JCM 800 for a number of like the layers, like little lead textures and delayed parts that we have. We also utilized for our rhythm tracks, our secondary rhythm tracks were done through a PV VTM, and we ran that into an orange cab, which is over there, right here. And we actually also used another cab that we used on the record is this 80s Mesa cab. It's one of the old hand-nailed Mesa cabs from when that company was a newer company, and it's got a little bit of a darker tone. I really like using that as well. I think the last one that we're using is the classic Fender Twin, using that for some of the clean textures. We're layering a lot of guitar on this album. We have 4 rhythm tracks for our basic, but we're also spreading that out to 6 and 8 tracks at certain points in the record. There's some clean guitars mixed in with some HM2 through the JMP, so we have like very clean and very distorted, sometimes overlapping each other to bring out the melody but also to make it snarl and vicious.
I'm going to run you through some of the drum stuff I used on the record. One of the biggest factors and that was kind of unfortunate, kind of put us in a bind, was I played drums for the band Today Is the Day. And the van was involved in a pretty serious van accident about a month before I came here, which kind of left me in shambles. This is the ride cymbal I used. I've had this ride cymbal forever. This is a Zildjian G Custom that I bought in 2003. It had a little crack that was, there, and then the crack's kind of gone there. Kind of weird to use a cracked cymbal actually on a record, but this kind of sizzle that this gives you, it ended up sounding pretty cool. The way it cut was really, really nice. Also, they don't make Z Customs anymore, which were my favorite cymbals for years. So I kind of held on to this even though it's fucking destroyed, I hope that, I can get some more life out of it. My drums, this is kind of hilarious. I'll start off with the rack tom here. This rack tom is a 12-inch Mapex V series. This was the floor tom to the kit I used in Harlots for years. The kit I used in Harlots had an 18-inch kick, 8, 10, and 12-inch toms. So as you can see, it's got the 3 things on it. This was definitely a floor tom. It's fucking small. When I look at it now, I can't believe that I used that kit for so long. But it works, and I actually took the wrap off and finished it, and it sounds fucking awesome. This right here, this is my pride and joy. This is a Sound Percussion Floor Tom that I bought from Music Go Round for $15, and then took the wrap off, finished it. Kind of on the toms, I definitely swear by the Remo Coated Emperors. Those are pretty much my favorite. This is a Gretsch Catalina Club snare that I bought off this random guy in Maine for $60. Sounds awesome. And then this is my kick drum, 22-inch Mapex M series. I traded my 18-inch kick drum to my friend Eric from Northless for this guy. This actually sounds really good. Typically on the record, I did not use a front head at all. Nothing in the inside. But live, I used the retro screen to kind of make all the air push out. And on the back side, I have the Aquarian Super Kick 2 has the muting already in it, so that kind of makes it easier to not have a front head, essentially, to have all the air push out.
I'm Chris, and we're going to take a look at some of the pre's we've used on the record. First off, we have these Millennia preamps. We use these mostly for the spot mics. Sometimes we'll use them for overheads, but they're really clean sounding, and we tried to do different things on this record. For example, we have a pair of Avalon 737 tube preamps. We use these for vocals a lot, and actually on this record we use them for the overheads. We tried out a couple different types of preamps and preferred the sound of these more. Then this is a Universal Audio 6176. Basically has a 610 preamp and 1176 compressor together in there. And I put a mic behind Jeff when he was playing drums, but pointed towards the snare drum. And this is like it's a dirtier sounding preamp than some of these over here. And it added like a cool character to the overall sound of the drums. And then here we have a couple different tape machines that we're gonna end up using when we do the actual mix of the drums. This is a 2-track Otari machine, and then back here, it's a little hidden away, just got it, but it's a 8-track Fostex tape machine. And over here we have Jason Newstead. He brought some inspiration during bass tracking for Jeff. And over here we have Mackie 32.8 board with a 24-channel expansion, which we use for analog summing. Since we record into Pro Tools HD, it's good to throw the audio back into the analog realm. Moving over here, more preamps that we've used. These are actually some of my favorites over here. We have Day King pre's. We use these on, I believe, the kick, snare, and toms on this record. I like them a lot on overheads too. And then over here we have a 500 series rack, which has a stereo pair of Great River preamps and Neve Design 511s. I believe we use these on the room mics. And over here we have a Vintech 573 that we also used on a mono room mic. These three are more like Neve based preamps, and you can get them dirtier sounding, which is awesome. And we actually used the Great River for the bass DI. And let's see, we also have a Avalon U5, which we used to get a direct sound from the guitar. So we were able to get a DI and at the same time route it into the guitar amp. So we could blend in a DI signal if we wanted for more clarity, but also it worked out great because we had a pedal die on us during tracking, and we were able to just reamp all the DI tracks without having to retrack most of the record.
I'm going to take you through some of the pedals that I use on the record. Pedals are a big part of my guitar sound. I definitely kind of try to use single channel guitar amps that handle pedals well so I can manipulate the sound properly. So starting off with the main distortion that you hear on the record is from the Boss Heavy Metal pedal. This is the pedal that's known for distortion in Tomb, Dismember, a lot of the Swedish death metal bands, and then a lot of more recent bands like Black Breath use them too. This is not the only distortion pedal, but it's definitely a very raunchy sound, and kind of a throwback to some of the Swedish death metal bands that I really love. This is the secondary pedal. This is a Keeley modded Boss distortion pedal. It gets kind of a clearer tone. Mainly with the main thing I try to do with both these pedals is this went through the JMP and this went through a PV Windsor, so you have two different amps with two entirely different distortions and kind of blend the two, so it's not full blown. I feel like if I have this on at all times, it's just too much. It gets too crazy sounding. This kind of clears it up a little bit. So I think that's a big thing in being a one guitar player band now, is to have two entirely different tones that you blend together to make one massive tone. The Harmonist Pedal. As you can see, I'm a fan of Boss pedals. This thing is fucking awesome. You can do a lot of different manipulations with this, but I kind of keep it in the lower register, where I just kind of lightly put in an octave lower than what I'm actually playing in. So some of the riffs you're hearing on the record, you're hearing the tuning in A, and then you're also hearing like a slight pinch of the octave below that, which sounds pretty fucking heavy. The chorus pedal, of course, Def Leppard, it's good shit. And last but not least, the Weed pedal. The Weed pedal is actually just a Boss Digital delay pedal, but I painted it. This is kind of a joke to a former guitar player we had, Ben. He was a straight edge dude and real meat and potatoes guitar player, and could never quite seem to get his delay pedal to work right. And he'd always say, "I can't get my weed pedal to work right." So I showed up to practice one day with the weed pedal to make him laugh. But the chorus and delay is definitely a combo that I use all the time. Definitely something kind of throwing back to like Def Leppard guitar tone from the 80s. Just I like the combination of the two. I bought this year. This is a 2007 Gibson SG, straight up. I love this guitar. It plays awesome, and this is mainly the guitar that you hear on. This is the only guitar you've used on the record. It plays beautifully. One big thing with my guitar tone is the gauge strings I use. I use the Ernie Ball baritones, and they're I think 13 to 72. I also swap out the 13 to 18. One big thing to Enabler is the guitar tuning itself. It's AGCF-CC, and this is that with these two swapped out, so I can do bends easier. It's basically like if you had a 7-string guitar and you took out the low E string. It was in standard tuning. You took out the low E string, and then everything is an octave chord, and that's kind of why a lot of the riffs sound so strange and so unconventional, is because there really aren't power chords in Enabler. It's all octave chords.